Environmentalists have issued warnings about the toxic emissions over Pietermaritzburg in KwaZulu-Natal. They say the fumes may carry cancer-causing chemicals and that overexposure during the COVID-19 pandemic could lead to severe health issues or death. Environmental health campaigner Rico Euripidou is joining us now via Skype with more details. Rico, good morning. It's a very concerning situation, and I've seen reports that it's all stemming out of the fire that has happened at the Msunduzi landfill site. How bad is the situation?
Yeah, good morning to you and your listeners. The situation is actually very bad. The open burning of waste on a landfill site is considered one of the worst practices in terms of waste management. The United Nations Environment Program have issued guidance documents on this kind of scenario. And the big problem is that uncontrolled burning, where plastics and organics come into contact with each other, they give rise to these man-made chemicals. It's a family of chemicals called dioxin and furans, and you're right, they can cause cancer. So this is the worst kind of scenario you can possibly imagine. Never mind the smoke and the fine particles that people are breathing in. The legacy of this will be these kinds of chemicals into the environment.
So literally the people in and around that Msunduzi landfill site, in the surrounds there, currently are being choked to death, so to speak, or is that too dramatic?
The whole city. If you go to Pietermaritzburg on a typical winter's morning, Pietermaritzburg is in a bowl. The city it sits in a depression, and there's an inversion layer, a cold layer of air over the city. So all the smoke from that landfill site has been trapped underneath that inversion layer. So the entire city has been fogged in the smoke from the landfill site. The World Health Organization says that air pollution is one of the most dangerous things that lead to global deaths. 7 million people die from air pollution every year. So, you know, what's happening in Maritzburg is not just the legacy of that bad management of that landfill site, because this is not the first landfill fire that's happened in Pietermaritzburg. This is probably the third landfill fire that's happened over the last couple of years. So all of that builds up in the environment. All of those chemicals that arise from these fires are going to be flushed into the environment.
Now, this latest fire, I mean, started burning last week, from what I understand, and I've seen reports from Monday, and I've seen reports that people who live nearby in that small township called Sobantu say they have no way of escaping the acrid smoke, and you are highlighting what the World Health Organization is saying in terms of people's respiratory challenges that will come out of inhaling this. What are the local authorities been telling people like yourselves in groundwork, the environmentalists who are raising the red flag about this? Why do they keep setting this landfill site on fire?
Well, the landfill fires that have happened there, not singular, multiple fires have happened at Msunduzi. This is a result of multiple failures at many levels. So at the city level, it's a failure in terms of management, proper management, appointing properly qualified people to manage the landfill site on a day-to-day basis. You can't just appoint anyone to manage a landfill site. You have to have trained engineers. You have to have a daily covering. You have to ensure that your working face is limited. The other failure in Pietermaritzburg has been one that is political. Pietermaritzburg in the last 10 years was awarded a 30 million rand grant from COCTA to build what's called a materials recovery facility. The beneficiaries of that were going to be the waste pickers who are on the site. These are professional waste workers. These are the guys that you see every morning earning their living, carting recyclables. It's what keeps our recycling industry alive in South Africa. And the politicians in Pietermaritzburg compromised that deal because they couldn't agree that those waste pickers would be the beneficiaries. They wanted somebody else to be the beneficiaries of that. So COCTA took the money away. So we see in Maritzburg these multiple failures at political level.
You've expressed that, Rico, from the word go. But now finally, and very brief if you may, I've seen a report where the municipal spokesperson, Thobeka Mafumbata, is quoted or reported as saying that the landfill is now under control. Is that the case from what you know on the ground?
Well, under control for how long? You know, the next landfill fire could be tomorrow or next week, because there are such systemic problems at that landfill site. And those systemic problems arise with the municipality and the leadership of that municipality, and also the management of that landfill site, the day-to-day management of that landfill site. What Pietermaritzburg should be doing is thinking more broadly towards something called zero waste, where you encourage residents to, take action in their households to separate waste at source, to have proper recycling facilities before the waste actually gets to the landfill site, so that you take the recyclables out. The organics can be managed in a way that services the agricultural sector. We just don't see that kind of leadership from Pietermaritzburg. We need to think in terms of the climate. We need to think in terms of people's livelihoods. We need to think in terms of jobs. We're lacking all of that at Pietermaritzburg.
And we need to think of the effect of this is having on people's health in and around that area. Thank you very much. Environmental health campaigner, Rico Euripidou.